Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and you're watching Boom TV, brought to you by, of course, Sincere. My name is Unique, and I'm filling in, and I'm here with William. Oh, you'll definitely recognize his music. Okay, he's very popular for definitely many of these songs, but one of my favorites is "I Give Myself Away," and just the premise of that song, it really ministers not only to me, but whenever we play it, as far as if it's a youth ministry, young adult ministry, a lot of people sort of just give zone out and just really give themselves away to God as far as their mind, their heart, their body and soul. And what inspired you to create that song? Was it, were you just not necessarily a deadline for a project, but were you going through a moment or a season in your life?
Uh, the inspiration of the song is too long to tell. I've written blogs about it and tell stories about it all the time. It's multiple. It's many web, but the short version would be I've spent a year alone with God pursuing His heart because I had become frustrated with the idea of saying that we were having encounters with God, and people were leaving unchanged. It was bothering me, and that was bothering me over a number of years, because we go through all the things to try to get people hyped up or whatever. I hate that term or whatever for worship, but we're going through all these things, and people are saying they're having a deep encounter with God, but then they're going home and their life is unchanged. The way they treat their spouse is not different. Their children, no one at work knows that you've been with Jesus, and it was bothering me. So I began to pursue to know Him. And in the middle of that time, during a prayer service at our church, my pastor was actually, he was the one who began during a time of intercession singing this, "My life is not my own, to you I belong." And so as he was singing that, and I'm playing, and we're saying that refrain all night, it was right in line with what the Lord had been dealing with my heart concerning me, because one of the things that was shifting in my heart was how we take our encounters with God and allow that to affect others. And so as I began to think about that, as I was home and the next day, that I give myself away so you can use me, just begin to come out of me. So in about 30 minutes, it was really a response to what God was asking from me. So it was a personal cry, then released at our church that we sang for about a year before anyone ever heard it. I wasn't even going to record it.
Wow.
I just felt like maybe this is a song for the house, and what God has done with it since then is blowing my mind, because it wasn't written like I wrote a song and everyone needs to hear it. It was this is what God needs to hear from me. This is what I need to be saying to God to please Him. It wasn't, I think the whole body needs to say this. Actually, the only reason I recorded it was another song that I wrote called "Give Us Your Heart," and that song, the only logical response to "Give Us Your Heart" is I give myself away, and that's the only reason I recorded it. Otherwise, it would have stayed a private song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, being that you're plugged into your church, as well as you travel, how do you balance it all? From being involved in your church, traveling, having your CDs, bookings. Like, how do you balance your ministry and your personal life? Do you find it hard? Do you feel as though you're just one track and you don't really have time for friends, family, just time to relax and hang out?
Life, first of all, I'm married, and so my first ministry is my wife. Everything else is kind of, balance and all that stuff. We try to compartmentalize these things. We serve Jesus. We all serve Jesus, and I'm not pursuing the things that are happening. For lack of a better term, they pursue me. However, what I mean by that is that my goal has been to know Him. and to serve Him the best way I can. In other words, I didn't position myself to see any of this happen. He chose me. And so because He chose me, He's the one that, so for me, it's not like, well, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to make this happen to me. I'm not trying to make any of it happen. God spoke very, very clearly. I tell this everywhere I go. He said, when you speak when I'm speaking, I'll make a way for my message. And that's exactly what He's doing. At home, it feels no different. I mean, obviously we get more emails and calls or whatever, but my home life is no different than it was before anyone knew who I was. And so my worship life, it's a glimpse of, it's publicly a glimpse of private, but I've never changed. My friends are the same. My relationships are the same. So it's actually, I was telling one of my best friends that to me it's actually weird to me, like that people are like, oh, you're William McDowell. I was William McDowell 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago, whatever. And so for me, I'm still, it's still the same to me. So I guess to answer the balance question, the balance thing is don't change, and then it's not a balance.
Okay.
I mean, I was always serving Jesus, and so whether we do ministry at home church or travel or whatever, you still have to come back and do life with your wife. You still have to do, and that is the priority. Your life is your priority, and everything else, we're just serving Jesus because He chose us. And that's the privilege. The moment that we feel like we are in charge of this, we've missed it.